Welcome, fellow travelers. My name is Forenci, and I am joined by my brother Subjektive, and I'm joining Chibi and Vertek at the Golden Feather. Come on in, grab a seat, and let's share tales of adventure.
Hello, 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 and welcome to the Golden Feather Tavern, where your hosts, Chibi and Vertek, discuss Ashes of Creation and important topics spoken about within the Ashes community. Every week, we invite you, the viewer, and a special guest to pull up a chair, grab a pint, and join the conversation with us. Today is the 12th of July, 2024, and we are on episode 215. That's right, 215. All bards, all boss. And the traveling bards joining us today are from All Ashes, All Talk. All Talk, All Ashes. Backwards. I do that sometimes. And the two individuals we have are Forenci and Subjektive. How are you folks doing today?
Hi, I'm Forenci. I am doing fantastic. Very happy to be here.
Hi, I'm Subjektive. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no worries. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Subjektive. Good to be here. Glad to meet you both, and I'm ready to talk.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, there's plenty of talking to be had here. Plenty of talking. But Chibi, how you doing today, by the way?
Doing pretty good. We got. I initially called this 2 bards, 1 boss, or 2 bards and a boss, or something like that. But all bards, all boss sounded more fun because we're going to be talking about bards and bosses in combat. So very excited for that.
Rock on. So
and also it's Friday.
What do we have on tap?
So some of the things that I found on the community this week is talking about NPC Combat Pockets, which I will go into what that means exactly. An idea for fun for bosses that was actually inspired by our very own Vertek from a friend of his, Ripdye. And someone wanting to talk about boats, some advocation for realistic sail plans on the forums. And of course, the dub discussion number 65 on camera perspective. We actually have not had a chance to talk about this. Yeah, of course, most importantly, our 2 bards.
No taco. That's the other song. The real one is Boats and Trolls. Boats and Trolls. Boats and Trolls.
Oh,
someone's gonna write it someday.
That's funny. But yeah, so my question to both of you is, how did you find about Ashes? How long have you been in the Ashes of Creation community?
Yeah, it's been a while. I've always been kind of a lurker, I guess, in the background, kind of checking out content. Subjektive, my brother and I, we've played MMOs forever, basically. So I think MMOs have always been kind of like a big deal for us. So anytime there's like something new or exciting, like in the MMO sphere, I think we're both very like super interested. And so pretty much since Ashes was announced, we've been keeping an eye on it. But it's been more recently, I think, with all these great developer updates, we've really started to like kind of dig in and start making content about it.
Yeah.
I've been following Ashes since a long time. I don't even remember when they announced the Kickstarter, but I've always kept like the eye on the back of my head watching it. And then when Alpha 2 started pumping out some videos and I saw the huge progress is when I was like, yeah, this is a game I want. And I prefer sandbox MMOs, so might be time to throw in the WoW towel after all these years.
Yeah, I feel that. I think Vertek and we threw in the WoW towel around Legion.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
It's been a while, yeah.
It's been a minute. Yeah, it was around Legion though. It's towards the end of Legion, but still, I know we bought the expansion afterwards and we never played it.
Yeah. It was one of those like it felt like I had started losing hope at that point because I was like, oh, maybe it'll be different this time because they're saying it's gonna be different, and I'm like, why would it be different? It's never different.
Just like an abusive ex. My goodness, never go back. Never go back.
That being said, though, what is All Talk, All Ashes?
We are a exclusively Ashes of Creation podcast, pretty much just in listening format. We have an episode weekly where we just kind of dive into different topics. We love like theory crafting. You know, Sub is like really the MMO expert. I'm just the person that's played a ton of MMOs over the years. So yeah, we just kind of dig into different topics. Last week we were talking about camera perspective, and we just kind of dig into whatever I guess interests us about Ashes and chat about it.
Nice.
Okay. I like how it works out. He's the expert. I just play him. It's like that statement. I just work here, man. That's all.
Yeah, I'm just here.
I've been playing MMOs since 1999, so.
Oh,
I started with EQ1, and then I'll just go into and then went into Dark Age of Camelot, played thousands of hours on that, and then WoW pretty much, and I dabbled in a few others, but so I've been all over the place.
Did either of you ever play the Lineage or Arcade things that Intrepid is kind of basing Ashes off of in terms of idea, inspiration?
Yeah. I call myself the variety MMO gamer because I feel like I've played almost every MMO, even the ones that are maybe really super obscure, like World War II Online, maybe like Star Wars Galaxies and things like that. So I have played both of those as well, just not for very long.
Yeah, that's fair. I unfortunately only recently learned about them. By recently, I mean like within the last couple of years. By then, I was just like, that didn't look appealing to me to try. I wish I had known about it like back when I was younger.
Lineage 2, you mean?
Just both, because I know that I think Arcade's just recently shut down.
Oh yeah. We actually played Arcades Unchained, and then they kind of went back and on it and made it pay to win, and then stopped playing it again. So
yeah. I missed the boat on both Lineage 2 and Arcade as well, but it was bittersweet just seeing people say goodbye to their characters and servers and stuff over on Reddit. Because I remember kind of doing the same thing with WildStar when it bit the dust. Okay, guys, bye.
Yeah, I was there for Star Wars Galaxies had a kind of like send off like that. Where it was like everyone kind of gathered together and it was just one last salute, and they declared like a winner on each server of like Empire and Rebel, so it was pretty fun.
Nice.
I haven't heard of that. That was pretty cool.
So when it comes time for Alpha 2 to go all launchy and open and out there, what are you most looking to cover as far as information goes?
It's a great question. I think I love anything related to crafting. So like I just want to like go crazy on like crafting. PvP is my first love, but crafting is like right there, right after it. And it's one of those things I think a lot of MMOs, do well and some don't do great. But like when you have like an open world economy, like a sandbox economy. So I really just like Alpha 2 hits. I just want to like see how far I can progress through, the artisan classes and see how far I can get into that.
I'm going to try and break the game because that's what it's for. No, I want to test PvP because again, I love PvP, and yeah, I just want to see how like Zerg versus Zerg works, because that could be a problem in sandbox MMOs. Maybe help them figure out ways to deal with that. I want to test the node systems. I love the idea of just building up a big old city and base and having a community in the game, and I guess those are my two most interesting things for me.
So I listened to your most recent podcast. You're interested in creating a guild for the game.
Yes. Well, for alpha for now, but not for launch yet. I haven't committed to launch because that's kind of far off, but I do want to take one for I want to make one for alpha too.
Yeah. Cool.
Now, what's going to be the focus of your guild? If you do get it going and you had it perfect and dialed in specifically, what would be the focus?
Do you mean like node wise or just general gameplay wise?
Any of the above. Like some are full tilt to RP and they're all about, we're going to be the biggest elf guild, and some are like, we're going to be all PVX, we're going to master everything, we're going to have little regimented sections of the guild, and others are like, we're just going to go full tilt PvP, and others are like explorers or crafting guilds, that type of thing?
I kind of want to I did want to do PvP and kind of be like, see if this plays out on the server where maybe enough people get corrupted and we're kind of like the anti, or go after the corrupted people.
Hunters.
Yeah, bounty hunters type of deal, because that's kind of interesting. And I want to mess around with freeholds, definitely. I'm not looking to make a huge guild, but I like small scale PvP. I like large scale PvP, so I guess we'll see where it goes, how Alpha 2 starts, and go from there.
Yeah. And that makes
Fair
sense, because
enough.
like, again, at the end of the day, Alpha 2 is just a testing environment, so
Yep.
Test all the
Ghostbuster
stuff.
Guild.
Break everything. Ghostbuster Guild, Hunt the Corrupted. I like it. I like it. Yeah, I want to try out that bounty hunter system too. It sounds interesting. You gotta hope the corruption's balanced in a way that it's severe enough to curb the griefing, but light enough that people still want to eventually take the risk.
Yeah. The Glint cartel. I like that one.
We're taking name suggestions, please. If anyone has any good ones out
There
there,
you
please.
Yeah.
True.
It
There'll be
does,
plenty
I
of
just
time to
started noting
wander
them
around
down.
and try everything in Alpha 2. Yeah, absolutely, Golden. Absolutely. Created from the ashes. Exactly.
So, out of curiosity, what are you guys looking to do as far as any kind of favorite classes? Like, is there any specific class, or at least an archetype, that you're crazy interested in? Or are you trying to do let me test out everything a little bit and see what I like? Because it's going to be a whole lot of uniqueness to a lot of the classes, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like I've narrowed it down to a few, just based on playing like previous RPGs and games. Bard is one of them, definitely. I'm curious to kind of see how it all plays out. They kind of posted that really funny video a while back with the Bard too, and that interests me. But I think Rogue is like the one I'm really interested. I think they've said in the past like it's going to be like the highest mobility class, and I love anything where I can just zoom around and kind of have fun with mobility. So I'm really interested to see how that kind of plays out. I really hope we get like a deep dive video on it. But yeah, anything with mobility. Ranger a little bit too is really exciting and interesting too.
Nice.
Well,
Yeah. I'm going to play a stealth archer because I played one in Dark Age of Camelot. I forgot the exact name of it in Ashes, but that's what I'm eyeing. But I'm hoping in Alpha 2 that leveling is a little sped up for testing reasons, so I can mess with more of them. So yeah, I mean, I'm going for a Ranger first, but stealth Ranger.
yeah, plenty of mobility there.
Yeah, absolutely. I was gonna say the same thing.
That little bugger can scoot around. Tried to keep up with them. They'd dive in, and during the Node Wars testing, they would dive in and just do all sorts of crazy stuff and just dip right out. We got him.
I know there's a lot of people in our community super excited because at the end of this month, as you guys had mentioned on your podcast as well, they're going to be talking to us about the Bard, and I think that's really excited. There's a lot of people already speculating on how the Bard could be played and like the different ways you can use the Bard. And I don't know if you noticed this, Vertec, but earlier this week they actually shared out the image for their Bard concept, and it was really nice. I really enjoyed it. And I saw some people being like, yes, this is exactly how I imagined my Bard to be. And it was really cool to see like a book with like a magical page and everything. And I feel like that gives you more of an idea of like what it could be like,
Yeah, I thought it was cute. I haven't really been able to dial fully in and check out all their posts on it. I just saw the one that had the little image on it. Did they put out more besides that?
Not that I have seen, just it was like a close-up of it and then like a smaller version of it.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything.
Yeah.
Alright, so go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, I have not seen that post, so I
I
would
can
like.
share it over. 1 second.
Okay. Awesome, thank you.
Pallywag says it was a dwarf. That's notable.
A dwarf bard?
Yeah, the art
Oh.
was of the dwarf bard. Here is that for you guys on the platforms, and then I will share it in our Discord chat.
All right,
You don't have
there
to
we go.
pause on my behalf.
Oh, I was pulling up that is a cool image. Wow.
Yeah, it's neat. It's neat. I dig it. I can't wait. End of the month, Bard.
Yeah, very colorful. Didn't expect that for some reason. Could be awesome. Yeah. I just love how she's essentially like throwing, like, it looks like she's throwing the pages up, and it just, I don't know, it looks really cool. And this is also, I think, a really interesting way for them to do it. I wish we had gotten this for like our other classes. Like, I would have loved to see what they had for the cleric class before doing it. Like, this is such a neat and hype way of showcasing like what they're talking about. So I can't wait to see what they have for the other classes if they have others.
Yeah. I hope they do that for everything.
That'd be neat.
The one thing I thought was neat. Actually, I guess we can hold that off until we start getting into actual like Bard chat and whatnot. Yeah. We can talk about that in a minute. For right now, we're talking about these two bards.
Yes.
So, what is your one absolutely most hype feature that you've seen information about thus far for Ashes? And do you have another feature you're more hyped to hear information about that they haven't really talked about yet?
Ooh, that's a good one. I think freeholds, when they kind of did a little bit of a deep dive into freeholds, that was really exciting. I love anything like any space that you can kind of like create and like make your own, is always really interesting to me. So freeholds, I think, are going to be a lot of fun if I can get one. Fingers crossed. That's the hope. But in terms of upcoming, I think definitely just seeing some more of the classes, like you mentioned, the Bards upcoming one that I'm super interested in. So maybe not so much a feature as just a class. But that's really exciting. Anything more deep dive on the economy too. I'm really excited to see if we can get our hands on and see what it's going to kind of all look like in the end.
It's like that stock market thing.
Yeah, auction, stock market. I know they've mentioned like having like your own vendors, which is something I love doing in like Star Wars Galaxies. And so if I can see anything on that, I think I'll be pretty hyped.
Yeah.
So I am with him in the freehold, but I also kind of want to see node sieges like that. I love big battles, so I really want to see how those play out, especially with destruction and maybe like sabotage and stuff like that. And I guess the feature they have not shown yet, I don't think really have they have not really shown much about the naval combat yet, correct?
Yeah.
It's been a while since we saw anything about naval. Yeah,
I'm really interested to see where they go with that in terms of how they maybe do something different than other MMOs, or I don't know, or the progression systems, or just maybe there can be pirates or something.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's some people who are already like preparing to live out their best pirate life out on the seas, because we know that it's going to be open PvP. And I was actually going to ask you guys, did you already do a deep dive for your own podcast on either the open seas content or the like marketing economy marketplace information?
Yeah, so we haven't done ship combat. I feel like I'm saving that too. That's something I'm also really interested in as well. It was something I did a lot in Arcage. I was a pirate a little bit the first launch around. I tried to be nice though, not too mean as a pirate, but so we've done that. And then last month or June, all June, we were kind of doing a deep dive on the economy. It was definitely my month to kind of get really excited on all the features and things that they kind of have coming for that. So there's still so much more as a thing. I feel like we spent a whole month on it, but there's still like so many topics like we could cover and like dig into just because of how much there is related to like this big open world economy. Yeah,
and I actually am really excited to see what else we're gonna have for the open sea content and how in-depth that gets. I know that with the caravan stream, when we watched it go from a caravan to like a little raft, that was really cool. I was not expecting that. That was really interesting to see. I actually had no idea how they were going to deal with like the ship mechanic compared to a caravan mechanic. And that was, I don't know, that was a nice surprise. Let's see. Taco says, do what you want because a pirate is free. You are a pirate. No such thing as a nice pirate.
Sometimes.
Can't wait to steal people's spices, silks, and tea.
Nice.
Alrighty. Well, I think on that topic, we will go ahead and move into talking more about the rest of our stuff. Because, again, you guys actually just recently put out your own podcast, which I will link here in a second. I have to go grab it. But I was wanting to talk about camera perspective, and you guys were talking a lot about Overwatch 2 in that, and World of Warcraft, which both are games that Vertec and I have played. I've been playing Overwatch 2 a lot to try and get ready. As weird as it sounds, I've been playing Overwatch 2 a lot to get ready for PvP combat. It's more to desensitize myself from being scared of it initially, because World of Warcraft, I'm going to be honest, made me scared of PvP just because of how much I got ganked.
Yeah.
But real quick, they were just wondering, camera perspective. What camera perspective do you prefer in terms of both angle and distance from your character? Also, do different situations call for different perspectives? And my answer to this is, yeah, different situations definitely call for different perspectives. And also, even Vertec and I, we have very different play styles when it comes to camera angles. I think I once saw him be zoomed all the way out so you could see like the whole field around him while he's tanking. And I'm like, whoa, that's way too far out for me. I'm lost. Where's your cursor? Where's this person? What's happening? So I feel like I got a little lost when it was super zoomed out like that. I got disoriented. But yeah, what are your guys' thoughts?
I'll take this one first. My thoughts on camera is, if I have to zoom out all the way, it's fine, right? But I feel like, at least I'm going to be talking from a World of Warcraft perspective because that's the game I play the most. But I feel like a lot of that game you're playing zoomed out all the time, and it's like, why do I have this cool looking gear? Why do I mean, zooming out is fine, right? Like if you're PvPing out there and you want to get a lay of the land, you zoom out, and maybe you need to zoom out for a boss or two. But I feel like in modern WoW you have to zoom out non-stop to really get the most of the game, and it's just, I don't like that. I don't like that, and I wish they would design the game like, maybe a boss is fully zoomed out, fine. Maybe a boss I could play normally. Maybe a camera is always gonna be controversial because some people are gonna like zoom me out as far as possible, and then some people are gonna be like, no. So it's always I think it's a good balance of like, how far will they let them zoom in out, like how far will Intrepid let the camera be zoomed out, right? And how they balance it from there. And I guess we have to kind of see how they tweak it as we play.
Forenci? Oh, sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, Forenci.
Yeah. I'm kind of in league more with Headhunter. Like, I want that camera right behind their head, so that's all I could see. I think just like from like an immersion standpoint, I feel like so much more immersed. I kind of made a comparison to like Overwatch and like Elden Rings. Like, the more like kind of zoomed into your character you are, the more you feel like you're kind of a part of the action. But I totally understand the perspective too of like wanting to be like more zoomed out, like you're trying to keep track, especially like in a large raid, you're trying to keep track of people, like you're trying to kind of keep an eye on like where people are, what's happening, so I can definitely understand that perspective. But I love just being like as zoomed in as tightly as I can into a camera, because it just feels like I'm there, I'm in the action, especially if you're fighting like a large boss. I feel like, especially in Elden Ring, you feel like this like immensity from the boss because you're kind of like zoomed in and they're just like towering over you. So I love that perspective. I don't know if that's very popular opinion, but for MMO players, but
yeah. And like when I heard that, I could definitely relate to that, like that perspective. But Vertec, what are your thoughts? Because you do like it zoomed out pretty far.
I mean, I joke about it needs to be zoomed out all the way, but that's not the case all the time. You know, if I'm out questing or just journeying through this or that, or I'm trying to experience the world and just kind of chill, I'll usually be a lot more zoomed in. Kind of what you would think is like the typical zoom that most MMOs kind of start with before you like it's like halfway in from full out and full in. Like
a typical over the shoulder third person kind of.
Yeah, something in there, because I do like to see, you know, I spent time putting together an outfit that doesn't look like I pulled it out of a trash bin. So I like to be able to look at it myself while I'm running around. I also I feel it's a little bit more of a, you get in touch with your surroundings and the people around you a little bit more. But as soon as there's action to be had, like hit a dungeon, hit a raid, hit a battleground, hit an arena, it's full zoom all the way out.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, people are already posting memes. But yeah, and I mean, Flash, this is for you because of what you just posted. I think one of you mentioned on your podcast, like zoom out all the way and you can see like the planet that you're on, basically. You know, so you need these limits on them. Personally, for me, my answer to their post was I like to have it pretty close. If I could have it first person, it's also fine because again, there's going to be hybrid combat, right? So there's action combat, there's tab targeting combat. And Vertec, correct me if I'm wrong, but like when you went into action or like hybrid, it forced you into that first perspective, didn't it?
No, it's not. It wasn't actually like first person. You could still keep the same zoom. It didn't really change the zoom. All it did is change the reticle and how your mouse moves and a couple keybinds. Interesting.
Okay. And I remembered, I think you guys mentioned something about like being able to peek around walls and stuff like that, especially if they're being tank walls, right? But the other part of that is like being a healer, right? It's going to be important to be able to see people around the wall if you can, or like stun the people around the wall if you can. But that could also be definitely used to take advantage. Thoughts?
Yeah, I play a lot of like competitive games, especially, and so I feel like anytime there's like anything competitive to be gained, especially like in a PvP, like people are going to take whatever they can wherever they can, and especially like an open world PvP game too. I wonder like if you can zoom out really far, if like people are going to use that like there's like people hiding over here, or you know how they might limit that. And so to me it's always like a competitive standpoint, like I just want to make sure, to me, if there's an advantage to be gained, it will be gained by however they can. So I just want to like, that's why I'm always like so tricky, like I don't want to like limit people, because if they want to have a zoomed out camera they should be able to have it, but if it's the best way to do things, people are probably going to use it no matter what.
Yeah
I think I'm just gonna I think that the camera should be as customizable as possible, also for accessibility reasons, because I don't want people to be punished because I like the camera a certain way, you know. But yeah, I mean, I hope like I said, it's just how far they let you pull it back is really the key here. And like I said, maybe we'll see when Alpha 2 launches, and hopefully if it's too far, maybe they'll pull it in a little, and if it's not far enough, I'm sure people will talk about it. So
I want there to be first person so I can make all the pretty like photos, to take those pretty like cinematic photos. That's basically what I told them. I was like, I don't care how far you can zoom out or how far you can zoom in, as long as I can get my character out of the way and have a nice like cinematic, or zoom out with my character in the nice cinematic.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was just gonna say, I don't know. That would be neat to be able to actually get that cinematic, even if there was just like a quick like hotkey you could push just to go first person real quick, like snap that photo and then get back to doing whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm a person that like I'm sometimes, especially in MMOs, I'm much more like style over substance. So I will take the hit on my gear stats a little bit as long if it doesn't look that cool. So
honestly, some people
is great.
Yeah. Some people in chat are saying like I just like first person in taverns for sure. And people in playing Ashes in first person is playing on expert mode. But also Laughables, good point, Laughables, saying if you're in first person mode, then you can't see your character, and any cosmetics or any armor you get means nothing. And
unless
I
you
think
have a
that
really cool weapon you're holding right in front of your face.
Yeah, like right here. There's just like this weapon. Or like Kiriko. You see Kiriko's hands like right here, because I always play her. So.
Or since I'll be playing a tank, I could have a nice book to read behind the tank, the shield.
There's
back.
a shield and there's just like a book here.
A book propped up there.
Now you're talking my language.
That gives me like putting your favorite food inside of a boring looking chip bag, or like a boring looking other thing, or like putting a boring cover on your book so that people stop looking or trying to take your book.
I like it.
Oh,
and
is it time to press shield holder again?
And yes, Basil, it would absolutely be a picture book. Picture books, best books.
Yeah.
They should put that in the game, so you can store all your really nice screenshots, right?
Okay, there you go. Have that in your freehold. Yeah, let people just scroll through your look through your picture book, and you can put like a little caption on there. You can bring it like full screen.
There you go.
I dig it.
Or put literally put pictures on a shelf in your house or something. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Viking says, sorry, laughing, thinking about a pop-up book for Vertec behind his shield, just like a little like 3D pop-up.
It'd be like a little surprise during battle, time to turn the page. Ooh, look at that. But
oh my gosh.
Yeah, as far as like zooming in and zooming out though, my point of view on the competitive edge thing, I think it can give a competitive edge, and I'm okay with that. If the tool's there for everybody to use, if you don't use it, I mean, that's on you.
Yeah.
That's true. That's very true.
So Vertec, did you want to talk about Bards real quick while we're on the subject of like updates from Intrepid?
Yeah, let's do it.
What did you want to talk about Bards?
I just thought it was nifty when they popped that picture up and I saw it, and it had the book in the Bard's hand instead of like a musical instrument. And I thought back to the days of APOC when the books were being used to cast meteor and stuff like that, and everybody totally associated it with like a mage book. But now, if anything, it makes more sense in a bard's hand. And it kind of clicked, like, I see. Maybe that's where they were going the entire time.
Well, do you remember during the preview he was playing the flute?
Oh yeah, and that's why I thought I was going along with the thought that it was going to be, instruments in their hands, but
yeah,
because
there was instrument on his back though, is what Basil's saying, or on her back, on their back.
Yeah. It's like a violin and bow.
Yeah,
what it looks like, or a fiddle, maybe.
A fiddle, maybe.
Jinx Pally.
Surprised the gauntlet has been modernized.
Can I just say one thing about the bard real quick?
Oh, of course.
Do it.
I'm gonna be disappointed if bards can't come in my tavern and play me some music.
Right? Can I toss a coin to my traveling bard, please? That would be nice.
Yeah.
That's gonna be really nifty. I know a lot of people were talking about MIDI capabilities in is Ashes going to have MIDI capability, and I honestly hadn't thought about that being a thing until they said it, and then that's a genius idea. Apparently another game had that, one that I haven't played. Maybe it was Arcade.
Is that like an instrument?
It's I forget what MIDI stands for, but it's basically digital signals from an electronic instrument that tell digital software how to play a certain note, and you can always change what instrument. Like you can take a keyboard and make it sound like a trumpet, but
Gotcha. Okay. Oh, that right. I've had a MIDI keyboard before where you can select different things, and then yeah. Bard, please Derude Sandstorm.
There you go.
But yeah, no,
fantastic.
That'd be really cool, honestly. Someone said like Final Fantasy 14.
Oh, does Final Fantasy 14 have MIDI support? I did not know.
I think so. I heard them play lots of different songs in Final Fantasy 14, and I'm like, how do you do that? I don't know how to do that. That's so cool, though.
Yeah, people played some crazy stuff.
Bard CC, they dropped the beat so fire, you stop and dance in place for 5 seconds.
Wipe is so sad, Bard. Play Despacito.
Oh my gosh.
Terrible and amazing.
Bard's gonna become the new Amazon Alexa or Siri.
Imagine streamers love it when there's just like random music popping up as they're walking through the world.
Right.
That's it.
A boogie
if
bomb.
I go to make a Bard main, or maybe not a Bard main, but if I go to make a Bard primary, I'm gonna make it a girl and it's gonna be Alexa.
How about make a Bard and follow streamers around and just name it DMCA?
Yeah, there you go.
please no.
It's fantastic.
Oopsies.
I'm done. So speaking of wandering around, this next topic is from Caster Thurston, who is talking about combat pockets. And if you don't know what a combat pocket is, it's essentially like these pockets of areas where NPCs are naturally combating each other. So think in terms of Ashes, a Minotaur fighting a goblin. So you're just wandering around the world, and this set of Minotaurs are like fighting the sets of goblins, and it's just naturally happening. And they were wondering, should things like this be in Ashes? And if so, how would it be made dynamic, and would it help increase the realistic value of the world for immersion's sake? I think that'd be super cool. I could see it happening in terms of like, let's take Node Wars, for example. I could see an event in Node Wars if you successfully take over a region within another person's node, and that node area becomes yours instead of theirs. I could see the NPCs maybe fighting, because now that's a new territory that is like being hashed out. I could see that being a reaction to your decisions. I think that could be cool. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I love that. Like, to me, anything that kind of enhances like the feeling that you're living like in a real world, I think is like really special, particularly in MMO, because you spend so much time there, and it's your character can in some ways become like part of your identity. And so like anything that like immerses me further into the world, combat pockets certainly could be that. My best example I always think of is like Baldur's Gate 3. Like there's so many things happening in that game, like whether it's you run across it randomly, or it's something like where I've done like a second or third playthrough and I run into something and I'm like, wow, this is like an amazing storyline, or there's like this amazing thing happening going on that I would have never known about if I hadn't just like walked over here. And so like maybe not to expect that in a massively multiplayer game, but if we could reach like even like close to that level, or even half that level, I think it would be like just an awesome experience getting to see that type of gameplay happening like in the game.
Yeah absolutely.
I think it makes the world feel more alive, right? Because if you're just walking around and you see a bunch of NPCs fighting, you're like, what's going on over here? And maybe one of them will throw you a quest and you'll be like, help us fight them back, and then they take over an area and you kind of like turn it into a town, and maybe that town gets attacked by the NPCs you've defeated, and just you create like little events out of that for fun, I guess.
So I think it would be something great, because I've always said that there's books that you read through and you remember just feeling much more immersed in the story. And I think a big key part of that is just things happening in the world that you don't see, you just hear about them. Or things that are already happening, and the reader has no idea what's going on, and you don't really find out more information, you just know it was happening. But it's just the world feels more alive, and I think that would be kind of like the MMORPG version of that. Like there's story there, something happened, you don't know what, you just know that these two, you know, warring tribes of NPCs are just like doing their thing.
Yeah.
And you know, just something's existing and you had no clue what was happening until you ran by and like, what the heck just happened here? I don't know. Like, I think this node leveled and the other one didn't like it, so they just started fighting.
Yeah, and that's another thing is like the point that OP had made initially, and actually Lloyd in chat was talking about, it reminded him of RuneScape. That's actually what he was referring to initially in the post. I also sent out the post for both chats so that you guys can have it. But the thing is, a lot of times in those games, you run past this group of NPCs fighting each other. You can pick a side, and then it's kind of over whenever for you your moment of I'm taking part in this quest is over. But the reality is like that is forever stuck in time, a fighting group of mobs. And so it feels later like they spent all this time on an effort on like making these mobs fight each other, but then nothing really meaningful long term comes out of it. And the other thing that came to mind that Subjektive said, and that you just touched on, Vertek, is it could be an event also. It could be tied to an event besides just a node war event, where like if the node levels, that could be an event where you grab a quest from the Minotaur who got outcast because he decided he wanted to make love, not Warcraft, and decided to not fight the goblins, you know? And so now he's like, please, the goblins didn't do anything. They were here first. Like, please protect them. Something like that, right? And that kind of ties in with the whole event system being as dynamic as it is. And I love how, for those of you that might be new to the community, the event system really hooks you back into the main story at the end of the day. And I love that. It's like, hey, go turn this in over at that node, or see this major NPC who also has the next quest for like the main storyline. And I really love how everything comes together, because as a DM, I don't know how many of you were here when I was DMing D&D, but Vertek can kind of talk to this. I spent a lot of time finding ways to grab pieces of your character and make it realistic within the campaign, and then also take that and put hooks into going further into the game. And it really made a difference. It felt like the world was more alive.
True.
Or you could go even further with that. What if like one node, you have two warring NPC factions, right? And one node decides to team up and help one faction, another node helps the other faction, and when you go to battle, maybe they're like on the battlefield with you. They each, you know, have their benefits or something, just or you know, interesting stuff like that.
Yeah. I'd actually seen something. I didn't want to bring it up for today, but somebody on I think it was Boxstream was talking about having expansion where you can have an NPC that you can train up, and it'll be like an NPC guard. But I didn't read too far into that, so I didn't want to bring it up yet in terms of like an actual topic. But yeah, that could be also cool.
Little companion to run around with you.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm glad you mentioned D&D. D&D is like the epitome to me of like the ultimate like immersive experience.
Yeah.
Or really, I guess any tabletop RPG. But just, you know, having played it for so many years is like having like a really good DM like that, you know, they'll throw you that little plot hook that maybe like, you know, two people are fighting in a tavern and like maybe you overlook it, maybe you know, kind of investigate a little bit. And like, I've had like, you know, just those stories become like massive parts of like kind of like this ongoing story. And if obviously not realistic probably to match that level of, you know, immersion and
right
kind of in an MMO, but like even if they can, you know, bottle like an ounce of that, like I think it would be an amazing experience, like feel like to make you really feel like you're living in that world.
Yeah, exactly. And that your consequences, there are consequences to your actions. Just because it's not a positive or a negative consequence doesn't mean that there's not a consequence. You choose something and it affects the world. And I think that's what Steven is after and Intrepid is after as a whole. So
yeah, I think we kind of had a talk about that once before with when we were talking about the world reacting to you doing things in it, like when you strip a forest, let's say, too far, and we're talking about like dryads coming out.
Yeah.
Or like a big earth spirit or a forest spirit comes out and tries to womp you, but then you somehow make peace, and then they help you when if your node gets sieged.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
That would be cool. Because one thing that somebody has said in chat is you save one side and it kicks off a world boss of the defeated side somewhere down the line.
Mm-hmm.
Sun Method says Bard Flash Mobs win. But yeah, I think that there's a lot, you know. What if Hera Hero says, what if a goblin camp became the primary focus of a node conflict? Node 1 likes Boblin the Goblin, and Node 2 wants to attack him. Boblin boons or loot for the victor.
Maybe NPC, is he kind of like referring to NPCs given like hit jobs or something like that? Like,
no, I think it's more like maybe if you are like friendly with this goblin and for your node, but the rival node is like wanting to take him out because he's like a mini world boss, for example, then that creates a node conflict, right? So you want to protect this goblin because he might be giving your node a boon, for example, but that node wants to take him out because he's in the way. They're trying to gather herbs for alchemy, and Boblin the Goblin keeps attacking them. I don't know.
I got you. As long as they name him Boblin, I'm on board.
Has to be Boblin, yeah, absolutely.
Very, very invested in Boblin the Goblin now as a character, please.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Honestly, I think I might want to try and make him into an NPC now, if that's okay with you, Hera. Now, talking about bosses and stuff, Riptide, which is a friend of Vertex. Vertex, actually, I will let you kind of go further into this. This is a just for fun idea that Riptide kind of got off of Vertex, and everybody had a great conversation, I think, on Monday about PvE, PvP, bosses, and things like that. And I think that continued on to, I believe, Hidden Dagger Inn's content. And the idea for this post is, what if there's a boss that requires parts of it to be put together through the use of PvX? So like PvPing, PvEing, crafting, etc. And then you have to like put together this like rod or whatever to summon the boss. What are your thoughts? And do you have any elaborations for tech?
Yeah, just to elaborate on what it was. Yeah, so yeah, Riptide came up with an idea in the middle of the night and posted in the Discord, and the discussion kind of went crazy from there. Like, people were typing paragraphs back and forth at each other about different ideas on it. But yeah, the general idea was to be able to collect items in order to create a summoning device. Loot says, "My bad." No, that's fine. I love seeing conversation pop off like that. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
But the original idea was to have some form of a system where you could gather items in order to create a summoning device, craft it up, and you know, of course, as you're digging around, everyone else wants to summon the same bosses, right? And then you'd be able to summon that boss. It could be anywhere. It could be in a single spot. I think his original idea was you could summon it from anywhere. But can you imagine trying to find like a hidden away corner of the map so you could summon a boss real quick? Like, nobody ever comes over here. Let's summon it over there tonight. But the kind of twist we kind of came up with, well, we came up with many twists, but the one I was thinking of was to make it so it's at least limited, so you can't summon it like a gazillion times a day. You can't just I know Lulu, he was talking about Lulu. He was talking about being concerned about people being able to hoard or stockpile those and just spam them, or everybody in the group being able to summon said boss. But limiting that to, if you're in a group that summons it, you can't summon it again or even collect the materials again for X amount of time, you know?
Yeah.
But what do you guys think about that? How do you like the sound of that? And would you see any things that you would think need to be limits?
I'll chime in on this first because of I have a little more experience in that area. I think that's a cool idea, but obviously, yeah, you're gonna have to have limits. Like, otherwise people will just spam farm it, or, you know, I mean, I guess they could do loot lockout like World of Warcraft kind of does. Like, you could summon it once and you're locked out for X amount of time. I mean, I know people don't like time gating, it's what it's called, but obviously, if you give people the ability to spawn a boss and farm it infinitely, that's not fair as well. So it's a cool idea if you can just summon it wherever and just, you know, kill it or get some loot, or maybe get crafting materials or something, and can sell them on the auction house or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was just gonna chime in because I'm definitely the novice in this area. I know you mentioned you all said you made it to like Legion in World of Warcraft. I made it to like a month after launch of World of Warcraft. I'm not really big on like PvE content, at least like especially like, you know, bosses, dungeons, raids, but like I'd love that you guys brought up especially like the idea of like maybe like having to like have, you know, artisans or crafters maybe get involved in like crafting like parts of this boss in order to like summon it. Like that sounds like where, you know, if you're in a guild and like maybe your focus is PvE and raiding, where maybe that's not my focus. I feel like at least as like a crafter, or, you know, maybe including some like PvE elements too, as well to kind of summoning this boss. But like that gives me something where I feel like I can contribute without necessarily having to like go kill that boss or kind of engage in the content. So hopefully still be useful in that way.
Yeah. And OP or Riptide had said like the components would need to be farmed through like PvE, PvP, gathering, crafting, fishing, cooking, you name it. And it will require cooperation between the guilds to complete before the winter ends. So this is kind of time gated in the idea of you start it, maybe it's called like the Frozen Summoning Rod of Strife. So you have a time limit of by the end of winter, you need to get this together. So it'd kind of have this like rush of like time before you have to complete it, and then once the winter ends you can't summon him kind of thing. I kind of liked that idea too, especially if they are considering expanding it from 1 week to 2 weeks, which Intrepid, I'm sorry, I really do hope you do that, because 1 week sounds really, really short for a season. If I go on vacation for a week, I'm missing out on an entire season. Please make it 2. Please make it 2. I would appreciate that.
What if you go on vacation for 2 weeks and now you have to wait twice as long for that season to come around again?
If I go on a vacation for 2 weeks, that's my fault. I don't normally take 2-week vacations, so but I mean, that being said, we have a gaming computer, we can bring it with us and play some Ashes on the road. But it's just one of those things, like, you know, you have to consider it, or like real life things against other things when doing it. But I do like that time frame of you have this amount of time, or even if there's only something you can progress towards each winter season. So like you start to progress it and you have to put it in like a storage unit, or, you know, sell it because you didn't get that far or what have you. Or we know that the seasons travel, right? There's different seasons in different parts of Era. Go find a winter season somewhere. Go travel far away from your node. Lots of risk, lots of reward.
Lots of risk. Absolutely.
That also encourages people to get out in the world, so that's also another positive. Like you said, if one zone is not in winter and another is, so that will bring more activity to the winter zone because they want to summon the boss or something.
Yeah.
And I think Viking and I had basically the same idea.
So in response to Lloyd saying I think people might try to use it to raid dungeons, raids, node wars, etc., as a way to interrupt PvP as well, I actually really like that idea. Like, how cool would it be if you could collect enough pieces, like think back to World of Warcraft, like crafting the legendary items, where you had to collect, you know, 30 pieces of this and then go on this quest and go do that and then go do this. Something like that. But instead of making a legendary weapon, you craft or discover, find whatever, a monster coin where you can take over a boss tier creature, like a raid boss tier creature. And you go to a node siege and you drop that on the field, and you take over control of it, and you're just running around as a dragon yourself, just smashing catapults and such.
Yeah,
that would be awesome. Actually, World of Warcraft kind of had something like that back in the old Altered Valley days, where you could summon a giant. If you collected enough stuff, you could summon a giant boss that would help you push into the Horde or Alliance base or whatever side you were on. You know, help give you an edge. So
yeah, Yeah.
Possibilities are endless and interesting.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm an agent of chaos, so like anything that like creates chaos, like I'm all for it. I know probably a lot of people would not be a fan maybe of that, but I just think it adds like a lot of fun. You know, if you're just in the middle of another dungeon boss and then another one pops up behind you, you know, it could be kind of an interesting experience.
Yeah, very fair. Very fair. It's just one of those, you know, are you pinching them between two bosses? Or maybe it's twice the loot. Maybe it will distract the PvPers from attacking us to go attack that thing, because we're already attacking this one, but that one's free for all. Just saying.
That's
lots of potential.
And since dungeons are going to be open, right? They're not instant, so you could like summon it to kind of like distract. That's like really good idea. Yeah,
it's only like 20% of the dungeons and raids are instance, but those are typically tied to storyline. The rest are intended to be open world. So yeah. But I am looking at the clock here, and we are about an hour into our show. So I'm going to go ahead and move us over into some community focused stuff. I don't know about you guys, but I like cosplay. I mean, if you couldn't tell, I like cosplay. And I think Vertec likes it, and if he doesn't, then I'm slowly getting him into it.
No, I want to. I never got into it because you know, I always figured you had to kind of make your own cosplays to really get into doing cosplay. Because I'm not a crafter in real life at all.
No, me neither.
I can cook. I can make mead, but that's the end of it.
I was telling one of our friends, I think it was Senna, I was like, look, Chibi does not make her own cosplays because the last time Chibi made her cosplay, it started falling apart while she was wearing it at the convention. That's a no-go. We're not doing that again. So now Chibi does what she does best, which is work, and then pay somebody else to make her cosplay because it's not going to fall off of her if she does that. The reason I bring up cosplay is I don't know if you've seen the Pyrian Battle Mage, but AL from the forums just posted this on July 8th, and he has a whole YouTube video for it. And I love it because he does like a whole little thing. Like, for example, they have a stick, and it's the Great Grand Archmage staff. And then in quotes, it hates being called stick, so I had no choice but to rename it. Scary, scary stuff. And then below that says, stick, active ability. Your next single target offensive spell is guaranteed critical, or granted critical hit, but has 50% chance to hit you instead of your target. And then he has a picture of what the stick looks like. And I love how that looks, and I love how that is. It's just really cool, the craft and the art. He even has like a whole little photo shoot that he did in the cosplay, and they're all spoilered, but that's where you can find them.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I love it. And finally, last but not least, something I'm grateful and honored. I don't know why I almost said granted. Grateful and honored to be a part of is SticQeno got the fan focus from Ashes of Creation for his rap album that he did of a character entering through the divine portal and then becoming a king who later becomes corrupted. And the part that I played in is I am narrating that story, and he's enacting it through the rap. So it's like a rap role play. It's kind of fun. I like it. Rap storytelling. I like it.
It's fantastic. And it was great because he called it out at one point. He goes, "What do I got to do? Make an album? You fan focus? I'm gonna do it." I mean, those weren't his exact words, but it was something along those lines.
Yeah.
And he did. And there it goes, the payoff.
Yep.
But yeah, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. I have a one-liner in there.
Yeah, you do.
And Chibi almost died when I was recording it.
Are you gonna tell them, or you just make them wonder?
Yeah, it was he's a murderer, get out of here. And I just started, like, I closed the door to the room and I started yelling it into the mic as I was recording it, and she just starts dying of laughter in the other room because she was on Discord talking to people and they were like, "What the hell is he yelling about?"
Also, they also, hey, meat is a valuable skill.
It is. It's very true. Very true.
But I think that's all the time we really have for today. Do you guys have any final thoughts on everything okay at home? Right. Please don't call the cops on us, neighbors. It's just a role play thing. We're fine. Nobody's actually a murderer here. But yeah, do either of you have any like closing thoughts or takeaway thoughts from our discussion today?
No, just really, really excited to be here. Big fan of you all. So, we really appreciate you all have been doing this a long time. So just the fact that like we can have a podcast at Ashes is from your all's like putting in all that time before us. So I just really appreciate it and appreciate being here.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, thank you. Thank you for the kind words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's their socials.
I just wanted to say, thanks for having us on, and I love to see your guys' dedication and to this game, and it's players like you is what makes games awesome. So I want to see you can have friendly debates, may not agree, but it's always good to see more people passionate about the game.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, debate means that you're trying to discuss things, and you got to hear all the sides of something you're discussing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I love theory craft, and I like talking about all these topics. So
yeah, and I will expand on what you said and say players like us, all of us here, are why the game exists, because you guys obviously are driven enough to make content about it like we are, and those of you in chat are driven enough to come and hang out with content creators like us and talk about Ashes with us when the game's not even out yet. So very excited to have you guys around.
Yeah, honestly, it takes some passion, drive, and faith to even want to start making any kind of content before a game even hits a phase where all of the testing is public.
Yep.
Right?
So
welcome. Stick around a little while.
Yeah.
Hang out and have a drink.
Looking forward to your next video on add-ons. So.
Yep.
Thank you.
That will be thank you, and that'll be a controversial one. You're a WoW player, so. I
mean, I feel like I liked Asmongold's take on this one. I feel like add-ons kind of killed the game, and like we over optimized it. But I'm really excited to hear what you guys say on your podcast and listen in on that. But I believe you post every Sunday, so for those of you in chat, check them out this coming Sunday. I'm sure their next podcast will be out around then. But because SticQeno is live and also is the fan focus, I think we should raid over to Q.
I think so too. I have this thing where I would like to say that I agree, and so I say I agree. All right, well, thank you everybody for hanging out with us. As always, the life of the party is you. We would not be here, and nobody would be having fun sitting here with us if you did not hang out with us as well. Contribute so much to conversation. Raid Q, even though you already said it. Okay, there you go. That works, Lloyd.
Yep.
Take the credit. But yeah, it means the world when you stop in and you just chat with us and hang out with us. That's the greatest kind of support you can give us. Like, all the follows and all the subs in the world are great, but just people existing here with us is fantastic.
Agreed.
And you spent your time here, which is, as we always say, the most valuable resource you have. So thank you for spending it here.
That you will never get back.
And you'll never get it back, and we would not give you a refund even if we could.
Yep. Sorry.
Oh, Dio, welcome in at the last moment.
Aww.
Yeah. Offline VOD, YouTube OP.
A good thing that YouTube has 2K. Just saying.
All right, everyone.
But before we lose it.
Oh, go ahead. You said before we lose?
No, before we lose the raid, because it's counting down.
Oh, yeah. Wait, we're almost gone. All right, everybody. Take care. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See ya.